What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Kev Videos, True Stories. Today, I have a pigeon story for y'all.
It. I never stopped banging. I started banging hard, then I got so hard till it was a shame.
Welcome to another episode of KM Videos, True Stories. Today's story takes place in 1981. Had I not been able to look at the date stamped on the back of these pictures, I would have said 82 or 83. However, we know it's 1981 now. This is the story of the first time my pigeon cage got hit. Hit means somebody broke in your cage and stole your birds. This is really my first pigeon cage right here. The one my brother built in our garage back in like 79 or 80. He built a 2-story, nice size pigeon cage in our garage. The bottom was, I guess, the elite birds, and they could mate if they wanted to. Or maybe my brother thought they wouldn't be home yet, or maybe he wanted to hide them in case somebody wanted to see his bird. But the birds on the top, these are birds that we could fly. These are birds that I got to know real well, and I would spend time with them. On the top level, you had lighting because the cage was built where we had a garage window at, so the lights came through, and I had a little lamp that I could put in there. But again, you could see clearer upstairs than you could downstairs. It was always spooky downstairs. We used to have mice and rats in the area back then, so they used to come to our house. They used to come in our garage. They used to breed and live in our garage, and I was always scared of rodents. So during this time, I'm 11 years old, and bro's living on the east side. So it's just me and mom's at home. And he brings 100 and something birds over to mom's house. Bro live on the east side though. He ain't gonna be able to feed these birds all the time. So I'm getting into the birds and I'm feeding them. I don't have the money to be buying no feed. I don't have the transportation because at this time I'm just now beginning to get on the RTD, and that was only to go see my brother and my father. So I wasn't going to Red Wing Hatchery or to Compton to get no bird food. I didn't have the money anyway. So as time goes on, I'm really into baseball. So when you're young, you have a one-track mind. I'm stuck on baseball and hanging out, playing sports with my friends in the streets. So I'm neglecting the birds. The birds aren't eating. And I go in there one day, and the rats done invaded the bottom of the pigeon cage, and they done ate up some of the pigeons, man. And there were a few eggs in there. The eggs are gone. I'm like, oh shit. First I'm thinking somebody stole the eggs, and I realized the rats must have took the eggs. And so the eggs are gone, the eggs are missing, a couple pigeons are dead. Now I'm scared as hell to go up in there. So I don't want to go in the bottom cage no more. And in the top cage, there's rat shit all in the pigeon cage, but ain't no dead birds and ain't no eggs. So I still fuck with them. And I built a sun cage so they could come out in the daytime. And when I fly them, they can hang out in the in the sun cage. Meaning they get sun, and you can put water in there for them to bathe. They can bathe and get some sunlight. Plus, they get to know where they live at. They get home that way as well. Plus, I'm scared to really be in the garage at 11 years old, so they could come out and I could still play with the birds and fly the birds and stuff. Long story short, all those birds end up dying. I left some out so they could try to leave. They would sit on the roof. They didn't want to go nowhere. They were homed and they were domesticated, so they didn't know how to go eat on their own. So they would just lay up on the roof of the house in the garage until they died. So we built a new cage. My brother comes over in 1981 and he builds another cage. Now this cage is similar to the cage he built, but instead of a two-story, it's side by side. So once again, the further side is the birds is basically breeding or we're not going to let out. And the birds on this side are the birds that I'm going to fly. But being young, some of those birds were mating too. They were dropping eggs. They didn't have nest material, so they didn't make no nests. They would just lay eggs on the floor. So I built me a sun cage in the front, and I built a sun cage up on top. I was always building sun cages so the birds would know where they at, and I could look at the birds without sitting in there breathing pigeon dust and pigeon shit. It would be healthy not to be inside the cage with the pigeons. But bro had built a little small door so only me and him could get in there. That way, if somebody comes steal the birds, it's not likely they're going to go through that little door. And he put a metal sheet on the door, and he took a smoke detector, and somehow he rigged up an alarm. So if you open the door, the smoke detector goes off. Pretty clever, bro. It was a clever idea. Could also get shocked, too, because he has some wires going to a piece of metal, and if you didn't know no better, and you touch that metal, you get shocked. So I got this little pigeon cage and shit. I built a little trap door. Once I built the sun cage, we got a trap door so the pigeons can come in and out. Or when they come in from flying, they go through the trap door and go on into the house. So one day, I'm in the backyard, and we got all these pigeons, man. We got a whole bunch of pigeons, man. Some good pigeons came from the east side. Some CPRCs, MBRCs, PRCs, SCRCs. So we got all these different type of rollers. And they used to roll back then. My brother had good taste in pigeons. He had some good rolling pigeons. And like I told him recently, that's where I got the idea of deep rolling pigeons, from watching his birds. I didn't particularly like the kit birds. It looks good and it's great for competition, but I wasn't in competition. I could just bet you that this bird right here roll a couple poles. A pole, 2 poles, or 3 poles, and hope he don't roll down. So during my brother and I's elementary schools at 54th, we met a lot of guys in the neighborhood. Some of those guys would include Big Cal, rest in peace, Rico, rest in peace, Tim, who's still around, Bebe, who's still around, Big Crazy Boy, rest in peace, and so on and so forth. As I grow up, I'm always having dealings with Big Cal. We would see Bebe around. I would see Bebe around. I see Tim around. Cal was my partner, though. And, of course, Crazy Boy. So I wouldn't really see Rico. And I didn't never really know what happened to Rico. I would hear his name here and there, but I wouldn't see Rico. And when I was young, when I was in elementary school, to me, Rico was like this big old man. In elementary school, he like this big old man. So now, fast forward. 1981, I'm at the house chilling with my birds. I'm enjoying my birds, I'm flying them. And I remember, school was letting out at 54th. And my birds is up there getting busy. They rolling, they hella rolling. Like, I don't know what it was about this particular day. But they was showing out. I mean, they was really, really showing out. And I had this white girl. I believe my brother had stole this female, this hen, from this guy on the south side of Slauson. Fat Man, I think they called him. Fat Man, I believe. Birdman, Fat Man. He lived on 59th and Keniston. And bro had hit his cage. Older dude. Used to act like he was a tough dude. Big dude. So bro gets this bird, and I love this bird. Bro loves this bird. I see why he stole this bird. But I'm really enjoying this bird. Fat Man comes over one day, and he asked me, do I have this white female? I'm like, nah. He thought I probably strayed the bird in. But I'm like, nah. And I don't let him see the cage because I know my brother going to have a fit. At this time, I'm 13 years old, so I know a little bit about what to do and what not to do. So now, this guy, when I'm out in the backyard with the birds, this guy comes in my backyard. He like, hey, scares the shit out of me. I look. It's like this short dude, a little bit of size on him, real dark skin. He's a man. Looks like a man to me. He got this like straw cowboy hat on, man. He got like a little sombrero over him. And he kind of looks familiar, but not really. I don't recognize his voice at all, because from a child to adulthood, people's voice change. I don't recognize the voice. And he says, hey man, can I see your birds? I'm like, yeah, you can see them. So he's trying to figure out how to open the gate. I'm like, no, you can watch them from there. He's like, I can't come in the backyard? I'm like, nah. So he said, let me talk to you about the birds. So I go to the fence and we talking about the birds. He said he like birds, he got some birds. And he comes to pick up his nephew from 54th Street School every day. This is his story. I don't know if it's true or not. It made sense though. And so he say, man, can I have a bird? Hell no, you can't have a bird. He's like, why not? So he's getting like upset and he's getting aggressive. Why not? I said, these are my brother birds. He said, yeah, where's your brother? Brother don't stay here. I made a mistake by even saying that. So boom, he turns around and he leaves. He's kind of upset. He leaves. So I walk out to see, man, this fool done parked way down the street. So I knew something was weird about that. I'm like, man, this nigga parked way down the street. Why would he park down the street and walk up to my house? And he's here to pick up his nephew. Seemed like he should have parked closer to my house. Boom. I go to school one day. I'm at Webster Junior High School during this time. I go to school. And I come home one day, and it's quiet in the backyard. I don't hear no croaking or nothing. We didn't have no dog. And I'm like, let me go check on my pigeons, man. I hope they ain't died. I know I've been feeding them. Hope ain't no hawk came and got them. Hope I didn't leave the cage open. I go back there, and that's a couple pigeons looking spooked. Just about 3 pigeons spooked, sitting on top of the cage. Damn, I left the door open. Alarm ain't going off or nothing. So I go and I look, and all the pigeons is gone. I have this empty feeling come across me. Like, if you ever had your car stolen, you come out of a grocery store, or you come outside, and you know where you parked your car, but your car ain't there, and you get to looking around like, damn, where did I park? Who got my car? Checking, you know you got the keys in your pocket or in your hand, and you're looking around like, damn, what happened? Where's my car at? That's how it was when these pigeons was gone. Still got about, man, this dude might have stole a good 80 or 90 pigeons, man. That's a lot of pigeons. But as I'm outside feeling bad, knowing my brother gonna kill me, even though it's not my fault, birds are coming back. A couple birds come back, a couple birds come back. I'm sick. I don't know what I'm gonna tell my brother. Whoever took these birds stole the prize pigeon. They stole this white hen in which my brother is stole. So what comes around goes around. The prized possession of our pigeons are gone. It's silver. Silver was the best bird, the best male bird we had. Silver all up around the face. It's a hell of a bird. It's a big, big cock. He's gone. I'm like, damn, man. So when I come out in the morning and I see all these birds come back, I'm like, cool. I got probably half my pigeons came back. So half the pigeons come back. And my brother ended up coming like that next weekend. Bro, like, where are all my birds? I'm like, shit, somebody broke in the cage. But most of them here. He like, man, some of my birds is gone. What could I do about it? So he wasn't mad at me. He probably figured some of his partners from the east side came over and stole the bird. I don't have a clue who stole these birds. So boom, that's the story of the first time my cage got hit. Now fast forward. The homie Roscoe, Lil Roscoe's in prison in Tehachapi with the homie Rico, who we went to elementary school with, who became from Rolling 60s, they in the pen together. And they had this little kind of like friendly rivalry because they used to mess with the same girl. Roscoe's girl used to be Rico's girl, and Rico would still see her, and they end up in the pen together. Rico comes home. I can't remember the year. I'm going to say Rico came home maybe 2000, 2001, something like that. And Rico's coming over my house all the time. We gambling, talking sports, and watching sport. Rico would come over and watch some of the football games with me. He would talk baseball, but he loved to watch football. We even took a couple trips to Vegas to bet on the games. So Roscoe comes home maybe around 2003. And when Roscoe comes home, he say, "Hey, cuz," he said, "I know who hit your cage." So I'm like, "Who?" He said, "Rico." I said, "What Rico? Rico ain't hit my cage." He said, "Yes, he did." Rico told me the whole story. He came over and you wouldn't give him a bird, and he got mad and he came back and hit your cage. I'm like, "Fuck, you serious?" He like, "Yeah, Rico got you." I'm like, "That motherfucking Rico, man." So in hindsight, what happened was that was Rico dressed like a Mexican in my back gate. And the fact that Rico never grew tall like the rest of us, so in my mind as a kid, I'm picturing Rico as this big old grown man. But this dude didn't grow over the years. Rico was still a short dude by the time that I seen him in 1981, where he would have been in high school during that time. Today's lesson is, what's in the dark will eventually come to the light. Hey, with that said, I'm out of here, y'all. Be sure to click the like button. Please leave a comment, especially if you're one of them that wanted a pigeon story. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I tell all sorts of stories here. I'm out of here, y'all. Salute.